let me set the scene. It's late September. Leaves are changing. Birdsong has slowed. And you have one stubborn hummingbird holding on at your feeder. And you, being the caring bird lover you are, you're curious if that feeder, your feeder, will prevent that hummingbird and others from heading out on their fall migration. And the answer to that question is no. I got that sound effect just for that moment. Because your feeder will not affect a hummingbird's migration. They do not prevent nor discourage any hummingbird species from heading out on their fall migration. However, providing a hummingbird feeder late into their fall migration may help increase an individual's chance of surviving those early winter storms and other harsh conditions that they may experience. So young birds that left the nest late, maybe it was a late nesting period for them and they got out a little late, that feeder may provide them just enough energy to make it through to their wintering grounds, because they're leaving their breeding grounds just a hair late. Just as important as a feeder, though, is having a native plant garden with a variety of early and late season blooms. Those late season blooms are critical for fall migration, and of course those early season blooms are important during spring migration. So planting a native plant garden that has a variety of seasonal blooms, native seasonal blooms especially, that are spread out throughout the season, can help those hummingbirds during their migrations. Now, if you're in the eastern part of the US and Canada, leaving a nectar feeder up might not only help something like your ruby-throated hummingbirds that you see, throughout your region or your area throughout summer, the breeding season, but also you might get the attention of a wayward rufous hummingbird or calliope hummingbird, or maybe even a broad-tailed hummingbird. Now in the Rockies, late rufous and broad-tailed hummingbirds are a regular occurrence late into their migration. You'll see one or two still hanging around here and there. However, even later in the season, you may see a black-chinned or even a rare Anna's hummingbird that might take advantage of a properly cared for feeder. And then on the West Coast, Annas are almost always around. So year-round, you are very likely to see an Anna's hummingbird if you have a properly cared for feeder up, some native plants, with a variety of seasonal blooms. And then all the way into the wintertime, will Annas stick around along the Pacific coast. So seeing a hummingbird as a daily visitor, highly likely throughout that area. And finally, if you live on the Gulf Coast is different. So hummingbird feeders on the Gulf Coast aren't preventing the hummingbirds that are wintering down there from heading further south. However, as native plant communities change, as the introduction of non-native plants and garden varieties that have longer blooming seasons, those in addition to warmer winters, less harsh winter storms along those Gulf Coast states, all of those in addition to a hummingbird feeder may provide a more stable wintering grounds for several species of hummingbirds. So, are feeders preventing those birds from heading further south? No. Are they supporting them while they're choosing to winter further north than historically they have been? Very possibly that is playing a role.